Now let's look at how we might go about taking pictures from the images that we're seeing on the virtual microscope. So first thing to do is to open a copy of the virtual microscope. I've opened the NYU virtual microscope and I'm loading the histology page, and I'm going to take this slide here just for example purposes. We'll wait a moment for the slide to load. And here's the slide. In a pretty small window. I'll click on this to get rid of the bar that's no good to me, and now I'm going to zoom in magnification a little bit. So as I increase in magnification, get something that looks like this, and now perhaps I'd like to take a picture of this image. There are a number of different ways you can do this. For now, the first way that I'm going to speak about this assumes that you have installed Z-Screen in your computer. It's available from the URL I've previously given to you. You have actually started Z-Screen in advance of surfing the virtual microscope. So I have Z-Screen started on my computer, and the command to activate Z-Screen to copy or capture a screen image is Control and the print screen button on your keyboard. And when you do that, you'll see a target or a crosshairs pops up. And you can drag this crosshairs or target to capture whatever part of the screen you want. The box on the upper right of the crosshairs shows a magnified view of what's within the circle of the crosshairs, and this is in order to enable you to very accurately capture the screen image. Here I'm going to capture the bulk of this screen, including the navigation box in the lower left side, which shows me a broad overview of the material that I'm looking at. And once I've selected the area I'm interested in, I release the mouse button, and what happens then is a box pops up which asks me to specify a file name. I'm going to say test1 for the file name on this one. In this box here, and you may have to set this up yourself when you first use it, you want to make sure that your images are sent to file, and I believe it'll ask you where the default location for the file to be sent to is. We'll see mine in a moment, and click OK. What happens next is a separate window opens, and in this separate window you can edit the image, do a number of different things. The things you may be interested in knowing about that you can do would be, for example, to draw a box around something on the image, as I've just done here, and maybe to take a piece of text and to add text to the image associated with that box. A text editor pops up, and here, because I'm going to label things on the image using numbers, I'll type the number 1, and I can change the font to a different size and make it 14 point, and I can change the color, which I've done now, and go OK. And now you can see the number 1 has now appeared beside my box. The colors I've chosen here are not particularly good ones, but you can play around with this if you want to yourself. You could also draw a line, and there is the option on the top to select a line that has an arrow at the start point or at the end point, which is what I'll do now. And now if I draw a line and perhaps point to this, I draw a line with arrows on it. In any case, whenever I'm finished annotating the image, I go to File and Save, and my file is saved to my default location, which we'll come to in a moment. When I've done this, I can close the image editor, return to looking at my images, and when I need to take another picture, hit Control and print screen again. Once you have captured a number of images, or perhaps even just one image, from the particular virtual microscope slide that you're interested in, the next thing you'll want to do is to include it in whichever version of the eNoteBook which you're using. For the purposes of demonstration here just now, I've loaded the PowerPoint 2007 version. You should have downloaded this file from the course Blackboard site and saved it into a folder on your computer. In order to activate an eNoteBook template, all you need to do is double click on the template file that you've downloaded in the folder in which you've downloaded it, and this will open a copy of Microsoft PowerPoint with the template preloaded. You'll see at the top of the screen where the pointer is here that the file opens with the default name Presentation 1 Microsoft PowerPoint, as in fact any new file does in PowerPoint. And my advice is that you should immediately save the file as a PowerPoint presentation and give it a sensible name. I'm giving this one the name Epithelium. And now you'll see the name, and the status bar has changed to Epithelium PowerPoint. The next thing that you want to do, and I'll zoom in a little bit here, is to fill out the core information that's necessary to be provided with each and every eNoteBook. And that core information is on the first slide, which you'll find within the eNoteBook template. You need to type your full name, I'm just typing my first name, your 8-digit ID number, so I've typed here, the title of the practical, I'm going to call this one Epithelium, and the date which you are obliged to submit by. So for the sake of argument we'll say February the 2nd. You can read the rest of the stuff that's on the screen, and that now is the first slide which you have to complete, and you just require one copy of this slide for each eNoteBook which you submit. If you look in the slide bar over to the left hand side of PowerPoint, you'll see that there were two slides in the presentation. If you select the second slide now, and here it is, and this is the business end of the slide, of the template if you like, where you'll actually put in the image. So the first thing you want to do is insert one of the images which you've taken. If you click on the insert picture from file icon, my image was saved in screenshots, and I saved it as test, so I'll insert, and here's the picture that I had saved and edited in the Z-screen clipping. So there's the file there. So first thing I need to do is type a title for the image. This happens to be bone, so I'm typing bone. Next thing I need to do is type the magnification of the image, and for now I'm just going to put 200x, and I'll explain in a later instructional video or on paper how you can calculate the magnifications in the NYU virtual microscope. In the University of Iowa virtual microscope, when you change the magnification, you switch it to a specific number, and that number is the magnification of the objective lens, and you can just record that in the magnification box. In the description box, you type a description of the slide you've seen, including any relevant information you think that you wish to bring to anyone's attention. This is a slide of bone which I took. Obviously the amount and quality of the information that you'll be expected to be produce would be far better than just one sentence. I've indicated you need to indicate the source of all your images, so here I'm going to put NYU virtual microscope as the source, and then beneath it you have the opportunity to put 6 labels and provide a legend, and this is why I had originally labeled something at 1 here, because the legend is preset to 1. So here I'm going to indicate that the legend at 1 contains 2 cells in a box, and as I said, you can label up to 6 things on the slide. For example, I may have put the number 2 on this arrow and the number 3 on this arrow, and I'd fill out the legend accordingly. And once you've completed this, you've recorded all of the necessary information that you need for this particular image in this slide. What do we do if we need to add an additional image, which of course you will, because none of your eNotebooks will be completed with just a single slide? The answer to that is you go to the Home menu, which you can see here, and click on the New Slide button. The New Slide button that enters in by default is a blank slide. If you go to the Slide Design button or Slide Layout button here and click on this, you'll see you have 3 options for the type of slide, new slide that you can insert. A cover page, and you only require 1 cover page per eNotebook. Image insert, which is the one here, which enables you to put in an image, or a blank slide. And that's essentially how you complete an eNotebook. I'll give you a list of the images that you're required to take and how many images you're required to take, and you simply insert the images into the eNotebook template. Please be certain to save the file as you go along, as you don't want a crash to have you lose your work that you've done so far.